You are now tuned in to the From Earth podcast with your host, Julius from Earth. Check us out on any of the major digital streaming platforms or on our website at FromEarthPodcast.buzzsprout.com. And as always, thank you for tapping in.
There is no reason to explain.
There is no reason to explain why you had to
Throw it out there on the mic.
Why you had to specify the laptop.
Because after the episode, we talk about the meats. You know? I had to clarify. We're talking about the laptop.
We have the meats. That's probably my favorite episode title. I'm not even gonna hold you. Sorry, babe. I know it came at your expense.
Fuck y'all niggas. I went to Arby's yesterday. I don't give a shit.
You went? Oh, you doubled down.
Yeah, yes.
This nigga doubled down on the Arby's.
You know who I am?
Oh my bad. I'm recording. I guess I should have hit. Here we go.
There we go.
my fault, I should have let y'all know I hit record on these guys.
Yeah, that's how they set you up.
Yeah, everybody gonna know you doubled down and went to Arby's. So
Absolutely did.
Went back for the meats.
you went back. You went back for more meat.
The curly fries, the gyro, however you say that.
Gyro.
Yeah.
Man. Yo, this episode tonight, bro. This is brought to you by Pit Not the Palace.
Why are you like this?
Pit Not the Palace, yo. AB taught me.
Oh my god, bro.
AB taught me Pit Not the Palace.
Yo, the single joint that he got.
Yo. Did you wait? First of all, like let's call it what it is. Like, I don't hate the song.
Nah, me neither.
I don't hate the song.
It go hard.
It does go hard.
Yeah.
Did I send that to y'all like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sent it.
Yeah.
And B was like, yo, he sent this video of himself like doing a little shimmy. Yeah. I'm like, pause, relax, bro. But nah, it's the song is crazy. This is what, episode 65?
Yeah,
I just showed my time. What, 75? 60? Oh.
Episode 65, yo.
Year 3. That's where we're at.
Yeah. Episode 65 of the From Earth podcast. What's going on, everybody? This is your host, Julius from Earth, and I'm here with the homie Esoteric.
How y'all doing?
And B Davis.
What's happening?
I forgot what I was supposed to talk about, what I was supposed to lead off with, so we're gonna talk about AB real quick. Did you catch the I Am Athlete episode with him?
No, I didn't.
Him, it's like him and Brandon Marshall, a couple other dudes on there too. They had Swaggy P on there too.
Swag.
Yeah,
Swaggy P is my dude, man.
Nick Young, Swaggy P.
Yeah.
So I watched it, right? And I was telling you this when you first came in. Mm-hmm. So I watched the episode, and my take on AB, my stance still remains the same. Mm-hmm. You know, like I get it that you're a grown man and you want to be talked to and treated like a grown man and respected like such, and as you should. Right. I understand that, as you should. I feel like it becomes problematic when you want to, when you're no longer invested in listening to other peers who have a similar situation and circumstances as yours, that can kind of help you walk through this thing if that's what you choose, if that's what you want to do. Like, I'm talking about AB, but if that's what you want to do, specifically Brandon Marshall, who, you know, has a well-documented history in the NFL with some, just issues and mental health and stuff like that, right? So he's the host of the podcast. He was talking with AB and Swaggy P were on there just yucking it up.
That's just a recipe for ignorance.
It absolutely is, 100%.
Like AB and Swaggy P at the same time.
It absolutely is.
You can't put those two dudes in the same room.
You shouldn't. I mean, I get it. I get it that it makes for, entertainment.
Absolutely.
I understand that. But if you're really trying to get through to the dude, and I imagine that other people, other players, former players and everything like that have probably tried to reach out to AB and, try to talk to him or whatever. And so he got, he's in front of the cameras now. He's doing his tour. He's doing his rounds, going on different shows and whatnot. Right. And he's got to maintain the bravado and the reputation that he has. Yeah. So I get that, but it just looked kind of funny in the light, just because it's like, bro, you got somebody that I feel like you would respect. That would be a peer of yours that's trying to give you free game. Yeah, but at a certain point though, like that would be kind of saying that he was wrong. And if AB don't feel like he's wrong, then what's there to listen to at that point? You understand what I'm saying? Like there are days, not even days. I just feel like I'm at the point in life where I'm not wrong just because you say I'm wrong. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? And I imagine AB probably feels
that way in a lot of the stuff he does too. Like, just because you think I'm wrong doesn't make me wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm allowed to react the way I want to react to situations, especially when disrespected. You know what I'm saying? So if you feel that type of way, that's cool, but you ain't walking in my shoes and you don't have to deal with my consequences.
Yeah.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so if he's okay with the consequences, if he's okay with the path he got to be put on, the path he's put himself on now afterwards, he doesn't have to feel wrong.
I mean, he made it clear. He made it clear that that's exactly where he was. He was like, listen, we all come from different walks of life.
Yeah.
Like, you don't walk in my shoes, I don't walk in your shoes. But I've made a decision that I live by a code. And my code says, and then he went on to explain it, right?
Yeah.
So I get that, but I would just, it would be, I feel like if he wants to prolong his career in the NFL, eventually he's going to have to start taking some phone calls and listening to some other people who can kind of, loosely relate to some of the stuff that he's going through. I guess that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah, I mean that's if he values that relationship. Yeah. Right? Like if he values the relationship between him and the NFL as far as wanting to get back on the field, then possibly you have to come to some sort of at least an agreement, right? Yeah. Some sort of compromise, maybe. But if that's not if he doesn't care about that relationship, you know what I mean? If he doesn't care about playing football anymore, and honestly, AB's talent is still AB's talent. And for the NFL, it's always been talent over anything else, regardless of your troubles and whether you're talking about legal issues or what. You know what I'm saying? So his talent is his talent. There's a team out there that's willing to take a flyer on AB. Somebody's gonna pick him up.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Possibly. I mean, he still has world-class talent.
Like like I said in the group chat earlier, right? You notice you didn't hear a lot about AB this week.
Yeah, true.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what made me believe that. The people on the inside found out what the real story was, and they found out that they got lied to from the Bucks. Yeah, and they stopped pushing the narrative.
That's possible. I mean, it's probable.
You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
you make good points.
Yeah,
when you start talking about, like, generally speaking, if the consensus felt that way, especially towards a player, especially towards a player who has the history that AB has, it would still be a thing, considering that his former team got bounced out of the playoffs this past weekend.
Because we remember how they treated him after the Raiders situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And how everywhere. They went on and on and on about it and pushed it into the ground. This 2 weeks and it's gone. We're not even talking about it.
Yeah, true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and now we find out they offered him money to go, to check himself into a mental institution and this, that, and the third. Again, just to push their narrative. Come on, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Leave that man alone.
You're right.
Free AB.
Nah, my man, he's free.
No more white women.
He's free.
How's Rachel Nichols doing?
Yo, you know what's crazy is I was just thinking about Rachel Nichols. I gotta ask Jimmy Butler. He might know, but I was looking on her Twitter just to see if she was doing something new. I ain't seen nothing on there.
Yeah, she's ghosted, bro.
Yeah,
for
man.
real. Shadow ban, whatever. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah,
she is missing. MIA.
Yeah, well, probably literally MIA. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy
Butler.
Yeah.
All right. So I remember where I was supposed to start.
Yeah.
Hey, YouTube.
What up, y'all?
Are we filming?
Yeah, we're filming.
We're live. Oh.
It's tax season.
Oh, yes.
It's tax season.
Yeah.
And
that's what's going on in the streets.
I don't know if that's what's going on in the streets,
taxes?
But it's, you know what I mean? it's an adult conversation.
Oh boy.
So I feel like I've been avoiding adult conversations for the past couple of weeks. So here we are.
Here we are.
You feel me?
Here we go.
But given that it's tax season now, I talked about this in the group chat. I tossed it in the group chat, B.
Yeah.
So I want you and Esso to kind of help me understand this. And another thing, man, I know I said I was supposed to be taking a social media hiatus.
Yeah.
But I feel like every time I turn on TikTok, I'm in college. Mm-hmm. TikTok and YouTube are like universities for me, man.
Oh my God.
Listen, no disrespect to higher education. But I'm just saying, like, there's stuff on there that pops up in that little 3-minute window that I'm like, I never heard about before in my life.
You saw a couple of them big booty Johns.
He definitely did.
Yeah, I'm saying it was right back in.
It was like, oh.
Yeah.
Algorithms all back.
I literally said taxes.
Trying to talk about he learning about shit. You know what I'm saying? Come on, friend.
I'm learning about taxes.
Yeah, I
bet. So there was this one clip and this guy was talking about the taxation system here in America, right?
Yeah.
And he was breaking it down, just using the basic concept of the traveling, like $1 traveling down, passing from, employer to employee, from employee to supermarket or laundromat
Right.
or wherever, you know what I mean? And
the value of the spending dollar.
Yeah, and basically the long and the skinny of it, or the long and short of it, are that the dollar gets taxed so many times as it changes hands and as it passes down.
Yeah.
And I never thought about it, right? So I had to hit the smart guy in the group, B.
He's a smart brother.
Yeah, I hit the smart guy. I mean, I hit Esso too, but Esso was like LeBron
No, hold on.
LeBron in 6. Robin Hood.
Right.
So I was like, somebody please
Crypto.
explain this. Yeah, exactly. Crypto.
Crypto.
Somebody please explain this to me, because I have no idea. I never thought about this before.
Yeah.
How heavily taxed every single dollar is.
Well, before Smart Brother hits that, let me tell you something. Like, I never realized it until the way he broke it down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It just made it real common to just the layman kind of terms. You know what I mean? So it just basically just gave you a different, like, eye-opening experience. Like, damn, my money is, as far as that dollar value, is nothing compared to what we expect it to be, even for that fact that how, just passing it between friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm giving you 49 cents instead of that dollar. You know what I'm saying? So it hit differently. You know what I mean? It just made me rethink of literally how to invest certain things now based on that principle. So kind of gives me a little bit of clarity. But go ahead, Smart Brother. It's all you, my man.
Yeah. So the dude, I mean, he brought up a couple different points, right? Like when he was talking about how money moves around and how it goes from place to place, like there's actually a term for that, right? It's called monetary velocity. Right, it's how many times goods and services are purchased with $1, right? Right now, we're at one of the lowest points all time of monetary velocity. We're at like 1.14 or something like that, which means that either people are hoarding money and they're just not spending, or they don't have it to spend. You know what I'm saying? When the economy is more what they call liquid, that number is up over 2. Right, so money is moving around, demand is high, production is high, all that kind of stuff, but I think the real point that he was really trying to make was how much in taxes does money generate versus what our tax rates, what we think we're paying in taxes, right? And so you look at what they refer to as M1 money supply, which is like the basically cash on hand, liquid money in the economy. That number for 2020 was about $5-point-something trillion. Total amount of money that the U.S. government took in for taxes in 2020, $3.5 trillion. About 60% of the entire liquid money supply ended up in taxes. So really, when we were doing back of the notebook math in the group chat, we were kind of close.
Yeah.
Right. Basically, 60% of all money ends up back in the hands of government.
How insane is that?
Right. It's a pyramid scheme, right?
I don't understand finances on that level or economics on that level, right?
Yeah.
So this is why I leave it to the smart people around me, to explain it to me, to help me understand it.
Yeah.
But as I was watching this short clip on TikTok University, it was just like, that's insane.
Yeah.
That is so insane.
It is.
And the joke that I made about it was, did I just become Republican? That was the joke that I made, right?
Right.
And then B, immediately like shot back like, yeah, that don't work either. I mean, he didn't say it like that, but I mean, if either one of you care to explain, because I'm at this point, I'm like, what party is there for somebody like me?
There isn't.
Okay.
It doesn't exist,
it doesn't.
right? Because you have to think about where the money is coming from and what they're taxing, right? Right now, we're literally just taxing transactions, right? So when a job pays you, obviously there's employee payroll tax,
Correct.
right? And then you have to pay your income tax.
Correct.
And then you go to the store and you pay sales tax.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And every time something happens where money changes hands, there's a tax because you're just taxing the transaction. And probably what we should be taxing is creation of value.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I take a raw material, if I take $5 worth of raw materials and create something of $10 worth of value, the tax should be on the $5 difference.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like that's probably the real way we should be applying taxes. But we'd obviously end up with a lot less tax revenue.
Well, that's the thing of
services and all that kind of
crypto,
stuff.
because that's literally not saying the answer, but it's like the anti-equation of what we're talking about right now.
Right.
You know, it's like there is no taxation on that. It's based on perceived value of what people believe it to be, based on the buying power of what we spend for it. So it takes away all those types of steps of taxation that technically you'd only pay back at the end of the year based on whether you sell or buy at that point.
Until they decide to tax it.
Until they decide to tax it. If it's regulated, yes.
Right, if they regulate. So when they do that, it'll probably be looked at as what they call M2 money.
Yeah.
Right? Which is your stocks, your bonds, your investments, things like that. Like things that are not what they call it is money, near money, and near money. There's literally 3 tiers. M1, M2, M3, right? Crypto will be looked at as probably like an M2 type of asset at that point. When you sell it and redeem it for cash,
correct,
you're gonna get taxed appropriately based off of whatever the transaction value is. More than likely. So,
which I mean, they don't have a standard for it right now, so I'm assuming it's correlated to what banks are using, which is anything over 10, maybe. I don't know.
I have no idea how that's gonna happen. Right? I know I remember a law got passed last year or so where banks had to report any transaction or withdrawal over like $600 or something like that. You know, try to cut down on tax cheats or whatever. But you know, it could be a similar
Isn't that
situation.
I think that applies to the like the Cash Apps and the Venmos and stuff too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. They're gonna get their hands in that. Like that. I mean, that's the thing, right? They're going to find a way into your pockets, whether your wallet is physical or digital.
Did we ever discuss whether people who had OF subscriptions were they taxed or not? Do we know that?
I don't know.
Idea. I mean, I imagine they probably get a 1099.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, for contract
based on what they claim, though, right? I mean, I
imagine that OF has they have to keep track of all the transactions.
Right, they got to keep track of
the way because of the way that they receive their pay, right?
Yeah.
And so because of that, they have all kinds of files and everything on every transaction.
Yeah.
I'd be curious because I know you do subscriptions, but then again, you can do like direct tips. So tips you would not really claim specifically. So that's pretty much again where you make your money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Probably it probably just depends on how you get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if it's person to person, Cash App to Cash App.
Yeah.
Is Cash App reporting it if it's $50?
I'd be interested to know.
It's $1,000. You see what I'm saying? Like at some point they have to those companies have transaction fees and stuff too that they're reporting.
Right.
So they're probably reporting your transaction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As far as for their balance sheet.
Exactly. You
see what I'm saying? So, and now everything's digital, bro. They can come get you if they want to come get you on some taxes bullshit. It's just how much extra tax are you really owing?
Well, I'm actually interested to see what happens this year for a lot of people who with the the child tax credit payments, the rebate payments and everything.
Yeah,
it's the second half, I think, right? You getting?
It's funny because I don't know.
I think they said the past from June to December, you get the equal installment monthly payments.
Yeah, they just killed that.
And then, but I know, but this is still part of the 2020 year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, excuse me, 2021 year. And then you will claim the remaining balance on your 2020 tax forms this year.
Oh, okay.
So you're supposed to get the other half of that increment.
Okay. Well, I mean,
we'll see, but
listen, I know that there were a lot of skeptical people out there, right, who were saying that this is not free money, this is borrowed money. It's going to come back one way or another. It's going to find its way back into the government's pockets one way or another.
Right.
So the fact they think that this is free money and everything else that they receive is not. It's
that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like I don't understand the argument when people are like, oh, well, you're gonna have to pay this money back.
Bro.
Well, okay, cool, but if it was my money to begin with and you handed it back to me, I'm gonna spend it.
Exactly.
Because you gave it to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Would I rather you didn't give it to me?
You hold on to it? You know?
Right, exactly. Like, and I don't even have kids, so I didn't get a check at all. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'm not gonna stop somebody else from getting a check.
Right.
Like that's crazy.
It's just wild, man.
People in everybody else's pockets.
Exactly. Well, I was gonna say there's people who just hate for the sake of hating, just because it's available.
Yeah,
because hating is an option.
That's
really
and that's really what
it's a
it
default
is.
setting.
Like people want to hold on to their ideologies and political beliefs, like clutching them so hard right now, just to try to own somebody else, and they don't even realize like how it's detrimental to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like they will pull you down while pulling themselves down, but as long as they're pulling you down, they're okay with it.
They're okay with it. We call that crab in a barrel.
I was gonna say, crab in the barrel, like, spite your nose, bite your face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get it. There's all that. There's all that, right? So we did taxes. We talked about A-B. Question mark, right?
Yeah.
We're going to this one here. I'm interested in knowing how you guys feel. Like, do you know anybody who's like still has like these those life skills that we don't use or possess every single day, like sewing, knitting, like things like that? When's the last time?
Do I know anybody?
When's the last time you had
knits?
to sew anything?
I have tailors for that.
That's where I was going. I was going like I know that you know
bougie
you can
ass dude,
listen.
You can task it out and send
I
it
have
out.
tailors for that.
But you're spending, you know, obviously that's coming out of your pocket, right?
No.
Okay, you get free tailoring. Tailoring.
Yes, I do.
Go ahead, say it again.
I don't get free
No.
tailoring.
Say what did you just call him?
Bougie ass dude.
Yeah, there we go.
How's that bougie?
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Because I have access to a skill
Yes.
through somebody else?
Yes.
That makes me bougie?
Yeah.
Bougie. You come over to my house, I'm gonna rob you.
Because last week we were talking about, you know, we talked briefly about hunting,
Right.
you know, which was a survival skill at one point, right? These things now, like there's just like we make jokes about losing recipes. They're actually not jokes. We are losing recipes. Those aren't jokes. But at the same time, like think about when's the last time you used any of these skills. And I understand when you can start to exchange money for time.
Right.
That, you know, sometimes you have to do the valuation on that. Like, is it worth me to spend the time on doing this? Or is it worth me spending the money to have somebody else do this?
Yeah.
I get that. But I was just curious.
Let me see. B, did you get the email for the purge? Because probably when all these life skills will start kicking in.
Yo, man, listen. I gotta be honest, man. I wish I knew how to like build a house.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like I wish I knew how to
Facts.
do that stuff. I'm not handy at all. I mean, I could probably figure it out over time, but I'm not handy. But now listen, you put a bunch of computer parts in front of me and I build
got
your
that.
computer.
Absolutely.
I can do that.
Absolutely.
But I can't build a house.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Just build a bigger computer. Done. It's a house.
Right.
That's a great example though, right?
Yeah.
Like being able to build a house.
Yeah.
Being able to construct a wall.
Right.
Being able to lay flooring.
Right.
You know?
Change batteries in a remote.
That I can
You probably have somebody for that too, don't you?
probably do.
Sorry, what are we saying now?
Flooring I can do. I can do flooring. That I can do.
That's what's like lift a finger.
Lift a finger.
Nah. Siri. But no, like I think that there's something to that, right? Like I remember joking when I was younger, like I hated doing outdoor stuff. Anytime any of my uncles or anybody would try to get me to do any type of like manual labor, I was always trying to find a way out of it because I was a little punk.
See, I didn't have anybody to show me how to do that.
You didn't have anybody to show you, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of times we just kind of innately know how to do certain things. Like, you know, if you need something fixed around a house, you just attempt to fix it, you know? So it's not like we don't know how to. It's just more or less the fact that
Depends on what it is.
Yeah, I mean, within reason. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, you got to spackle a wall in the whole nine. I mean, even then. But still, I mean, there's a lot of things I think all of us for that matter, have the innate ability to just do.
Yeah.
We just choose to not understand them at some aspects because of fear of the unknown.
Right.
You know, you take the assumptive that you don't know something. Meanwhile, you just may have all the two. You just didn't realize you know.
This is my threshold for if I'm going to fix something in my crib, right?
Can I live without it?
Well, the first part is if I screw this up, how much is it going to cost me to get somebody to come out here and fix my fuck up?
Right.
Right. If that's a minimal cost, I'll attempt it.
You'll try it.
But if it's like, this might cost me $3,000 to get somebody to come out here this weekend to fix this, nah, I'm gonna source it out and get somebody to do it right the first time. Because if it's gonna cost me more to have somebody fix it, then you know what I'm saying, fix my mistake. Nah.
So here's a fun fact, right? We have YouTube now, which you can literally do all the DIYs.
Right.
Like it literally takes the excuse away to try and figure out how to do something. I mean, for the most part, bro.
Yeah, but sometimes I be watching these. Like I watch a lot of DIY stuff on YouTube, a lot, because I got a lot of work I want to do in my house, right? But I've noticed through watching these that some people be skipping steps. You know what I'm saying? Some people definitely be skipping steps. And like, I might have to watch like 7 or 8 videos and put everything together and be like, okay, you didn't do step 2 and 3 here. Yeah. You just jump right to step 4.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that would have flooded my entire bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Well, like you got to.
They assumed you knew.
Yeah, no, you absolutely do have to be careful.
Because people do shoddy work. Like let's keep it a buck.
Facts.
We all know people who've gotten shoddy work done in their cribs.
Well, I was going to say that. I was going to say that. So, like, that takes me back to a time when I would watch my grandmother use the town handyman,
right,
to do general stuff around the house. And there's certain things that the town handyman shouldn't be dealing with,
right?
I.e., any type of electrical work, plumbing, unless you're sure that they're solid on that, right?
Right.
But it's amazing because my mother's house is still under construction or reconstruction, I should say. And I'm looking at it like I can go over there and do some basic stuff. Like I can pull up some carpet.
Right.
My cousin and I realized we figured out how to, sand down the floors and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So there's like little things, but when I think about it overall, I'm like, man, I'm not really handy enough for my liking.
Right.
And when you start to think about, there may be a time where it's cheaper to do it yourself instead of using a type of service,
right?
Call around service or whatever. I mean, but I guess that's kind of the society that we live in now.
Oh, that's the purpose of HOA and maintenance.
If you have that, if you're renting,
well, yeah,
if you're obviously if you're renting,
buy a townhome, HOA.
But if you have a house with a mortgage, there's
people who you hire.
Well, that's the point I'm making. I'm saying like you can task out anything.
Of course you can.
No, you will task out everything.
I will. I like to delegate a lot.
I feel like there's certain things that probably can. I mean, you don't need any more confidence boosters anyway, so I don't even know why I'm looking at you right now. I'm just talking about like feeling more like, man, I succeeded, I did something,
right,
and I didn't have to call somebody in for this.
Yeah,
like it gives you a sense of pride, to be able to do it. I don't know.
I would say try anything once. If you feel you can't do it, then that'll be your indicator whether or not you need somebody.
Listen, I tried to wire some shit in my house once and damn near blew out my electrical circuit
I can see
box.
that. I can see you doing
that shit was,
I wish there was a...
First part everybody knows, you don't cut the red wire.
I don't know what I did wrong. I just know I tried to turn some shit on. Nah, fam.
Nah, fam.
Nah, almost burnt my house down.
All right, so fun topic, right? Yeah. Last week we missed this one, and somebody brought it to my attention, and I was like, yeah, we gotta goof around and talk about this one. Do y'all recall hearing the story of the young lady who is now pursuing a lawsuit against the artist Drake?
What now?
Wait, somebody suing Drake?
Who's Drake?
Well, there's always people suing Drake, but they're
like, is this an allegation type of situation?
Yeah, this was. So the story is that Drake and this young lady were getting very close with each other, and there was some type of interaction between them, and I guess as he was leaving or whatever, she entered the bathroom to try to collect some specimen, to try to work on a come up,
right?
And she burned herself because he threw hot sauce in the condom.
Wow.
Yeah, he threw hot sauce in the condom. So it's funny because there was a song that he was on where he literally talked about doing that.
Hold up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, so
you need an explanation on this?
I want to make sure.
I mean, I wasn't there.
I want to make sure I'm clear on what happened.
Yeah.
So he put the hot sauce in the condom
after. Correct.
Okay,
afterwards.
all right. That's what I'm.
My bad. I guess that did need clarification.
Yeah, because I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, afterwards.
Because at point I was like, wait, I'm intrigued now. Go on. This is a new thing going on here.
That was not a lead for you.
I'm just saying. He was like, hold on. What have we been doing all this time?
He's about to pick up his phone. What exactly does hot sauce do?
Talk about spicing shit up.
Right.
Tabasco. It's always Tabasco.
Yeah, nah. So the obviously the joke is that the chick played herself.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to work on getting pregnant by Drake.
Right.
And he did something to kind of avoid that. But the crazy part is that this is actually like a lawsuit that he's going to have to respond to.
Yeah.
Which is wild, right? Which is wild. I mean,
the way tried trapping you, and now you got to defend it.
So she's suing him because she burned herself.
Because she burned herself.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask you. I'm not going to ask any specific stories.
That's kind of wild, though. Like, I feel like there's a whole lot of self-incrimination with that lawsuit, right? Like, if she's trying, I'm assuming at this point she's trying to impregnate herself.
Correct.
Right?
I would imagine, yes.
So doesn't that violate some letter of consent?
That's a great question.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if he was, if he had the Jimmy on, isn't that basically saying, look, I'm not trying to get you pregnant?
So, question: where do you draw the line, right? Because if he leaves it there, say he doesn't put the hot sauce in it, and he leaves it there, and he's at her crib or they're at a hotel or whatever, and he leaves it there.
Yeah.
Whose possession is it?
Whose possession is it?
You feel me?
That's crazy.
That's
bro.
Like, think about this for a second. Like, this is just a wild
What's the chain
story.
of custody?
Exactly. Exactly.
on your man juice. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you still own it after?
You know what she was trying to do? She's trying to go from the pit
Once
to the
it's on the floor, is it yours?
Hey, yo.
Like, these are interesting legal questions that I think really need to get answered.
They really are, right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you supposed to do with that?
But think
one man's sperm is another one's baby.
Facts, yo.
Think about this though. Like, how many times has this had to happen to you for you to be like, yo, he's bringing his own little packets of hot sauce with him.
I'm not gonna lie, yo. I never thought about hot sauce, right? I can understand the idea of I don't want to leave this around in case something pops off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I can. Yeah,
bro.
I ain't gonna go any further than that.
It's wild. Like, I'm sorry. It's wild to me, right? Because I don't live the Drake lifestyle.
Yeah.
So this isn't something that I foresee in my future.
Yeah.
Let me just say that, right? But at the same time, like the fact that he has to go around and he has to take all these extra steps and extra precautions.
You never took precautions like that though when you was out in the streets. Way back in the day.
Who's married?
Way back in the day.
Yeah, nah. I'm a keep it G. Nah, I never did that. See, I guess back. I put it like this. So I think about like it was always just like just like either flush that joint. Yeah. I know it's not safe for the septic now as a full grown adult.
Right.
I understand the ramifications of flushing a condom.
Right.
But that was probably like the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah.
But yo, flush that joint.
Yeah.
Or make the neck a water slide. One of those two. I'm just saying. Look at it.
You see what I'm saying? So you see what I'm saying, right? Like we're talking about Drake.
Yeah.
And how
he has options. That's all I'm saying. I'm still trying to figure out where he kept his hot sauce.
That's where I wanted to get to.
Can we get to that point?
Right? Like that's where I wanted to get to. Like, was the hot sauce on the bed, like on the end table?
And did she ever ask, "Hey, what's that for?"
Bro, like, where did you pull out the bottle of hot sauce from?
I don't think it was a bottle. I think they probably ordered Chinese food, bro. He got the 4 wings fried hard,
right?
With the hot sauce, the extra hot sauce.
Okay,
and that's where the pack came from.
See, the problem was it probably had MSG.
MSG.
Yeah.
She got the MSG hot sauce.
Organic.
It wasn't organic.
Right.
See, yeah.
Should have got the organic hot sauce.
If it was an organic hot sauce, it would dissolve better in the body.
See, this is what I talk about, like toxic, right? But all jokes aside, like it was funny. It was the story that came up last week, and I was like, yo, we didn't talk about that.
I had no idea that happened.
Yeah, me neither.
It happened.
I had no idea.
Well, according to the blogs, according to the interwebs.
Nah, Drake's a smart dude for that.
So I'm not sure if the lesson here is to use hot sauce or to go raw. What is it?
I mean, listen.
Help me understand.
COVID is the ultimate excuse.
There you go.
Get out all of that.
Yeah.
Days,
All right. So the lesson is leave out with what you came in with.
There you go.
There you go. How about that?
Nah, go raw.
Bring a little Ziploc.
Go raw. Fuck it.
YOLO. YOLO.
Yeah.
Is that how you live your life?
That's it.
YOLO.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
COVID Chronicles.
COVID Chronicles.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Of course, I'm a grown man that don't leave my house for anything, so I can say that.
I was going to say that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I am not outside.
B
right
does
now.
all this talking,
Yeah.
and you go knock on his door. He got Modern Warfare blasting in the background while he's watering his flowers.
Yep.
Speaking of flowers.
Oh, jeez.
Speaking of flowers.
Here we go.
Speaking of which, yes.
Closed mouths don't get fed, fam. You feel me? Closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah.
You seen what happened. You synced it. Mm-hmm. I sent the pictures in the
Synced it
group
all.
chat. You synced it.
I
You
did.
synced it.
You know what I mean?
Very nice, by the way.
Closed mouths don't get fed. Yeah, same,
That
bro.
vibes, bro.
Same, bro.
That vibes. Shout
telling
out
you,
to that
man.
vibes.
Yeah, man. Closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah.
All I'm saying, asking you shall receive. Last week we was on here talking about, do men get flowers? What it symbolizes.
Now we're talking about hot sauce and
now we're talking
condoms.
about hot
See
sauce
what
and
happens
condoms.
next week.
So I'm saying though, a brother could use a scarf and some gloves.
I'll take that one for the team, bro. I got y'all. Y'all got the flowers. Yeah. I'll take this one this week.
You got the hot sauce.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and do it.
For the culture. For the culture.
For the culture. But I'm just, all jokes aside though. It was a pleasant surprise.
It was. It definitely was.
It was a nice thing to be heard and to be understood.
Oh, that's a conversation for y'all too.
Did you get your
my lonely ass got zero flowers. What the fuck are y'all talking about? Who the fuck sending me flowers, bro?
Did you get your Best Buy gift card?
I did not get a Best Buy gift card.
Damn, they ain't listening. See, you talk. They didn't talk their language.
Nah, bro. I'm single, bro.
Single.
I'm single.
Scarves and gloves, yo. It's cold out.
Facts.
Be nice. Be nice if brother can get some scarves and gloves.
But spring is coming, so Air Max is it's Air Max season.
All right. I didn't have a whole lot to go on tonight. I really just wanted to get together to joke around real quick about some of this stuff, talk about tax stuff. Yeah. Is there anything that you guys like feel pressed to talk about?
What do you think, smart brother?
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on out here in these streets, bro.
No?
Nah.
I'm not in these streets.
You don't have your ear to the streets?
Not this week.
So?
Let me think. What do we put in the group? We usually talk shit.
Yeah.
Let me check.
You know what we didn't talk about? What was it? There was another thing I sent in the group chat. What athlete was that? Oh no, that wasn't an athlete. It was an entertainer. It was Waka Flocka. The joint I sent you with Waka Flocka talking about what was it?
Getting a trust and putting your C Corp underneath the trust, and then putting your LLC under the C Corp.
Let's talk about
under the trust.
We about to do an LLC talk real quick.
There you go.
All right, we got to talk about this because when I saw this, I was like, yo, I gotta hit the group.
yes.
About this, like just talking about understanding liability.
Yeah.
With owning things or with having things, right?
Right.
And I think ultimately it wasn't Waka Flocka that was talking. He was talking, but there was another guy who I guess does more like the financial advising or whatever he does. I don't know what his title is.
Yeah.
But he was talking. He was the one that was just like, yo, listen, own nothing, but like control everything.
Yeah.
That was kind of his thing.
Right.
Meaning like have nothing in your name.
Right.
LLCs, C Corp, S Corp, things like that.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, somebody got to break this down for me again. I need to understand this. What's your understanding of this, babe? Smart brother.
My understanding is it is strictly about liabilities, right? This is why LLCs were really created. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
It's in the name.
Well, right. You know what I'm saying? To give people that type of protection that, couldn't have an S Corp because they didn't have shareholders, stockholders, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Didn't want to have that type of situation. So using an LLC and having everything you own under the LLC protects your personal wealth, your personal property from like being sued. Mm-hmm. It provides different taxation structures.
Your losses,
right? Your losses and all that kind of stuff can be I guess written off. Yeah. Now, once you get to the C Corp and the trust and all that kind of stuff, that's the part where he lost me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know a whole lot about trusts and C corps mainly because I'm not rich.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
wait, you got to put yet on that.
Yet,
right? Because exactly. You know the Mega Millions is up to like 900 some odd million right now.
Is it really?
Word.
Oh yeah, I guess I got to buy a ticket.
Buy some tickets.
But you had made an interesting point about how we didn't learn about this.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? In school and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And I was like, the reason Walker knows about it is because he has a business manager and a tax attorney and a financial advisor and all of that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Which are things that most regular people don't have.
Well, if you think of the education system that we go through and how they teach us to understand finance, it's never that on an entrepreneur level.
Right.
For the most part.
Right.
No, it's always employee structure.
Right.
You know?
So they'll give you the principles of money understanding, but they won't tell you how to make your own.
Correct.
Obviously to perpetuate that cycle.
Right.
Like we always say, they keep you working.
Right.
So a lot of the business-minded people, entrepreneurs who are out there, they're understanding basically, like we say, LLC is probably the easiest way most people get their own, become an employee of their own entity for that matter.
Yes.
The C Corp gives the ability to still have that complete control as opposed to an S Corp. C Corp is more or less, like I said, it's individually based. It keeps the money, the cash flow of the money in-house. You're paying taxes in-house. Everything is done in-house. There's nothing that's external to that aspect. The S Corp is that of a shareholder base, which basically gives it shared control of the entity for that matter. Right. So, pick a stock. That's an S Corp more or less. It's out there. It's a public traded. There's a board for that matter.
Right.
For people who are responsible for decision making and how cashes are. However, as individual owners of that S Corp, we file individual taxes.
Right.
There's your difference.
Yep.
Is the individuality. Like you can own, let's say for example, Apple stock. I'll own Apple stock, and we have a certain level of shareholder access that we pay individual taxes based on our shared amount of interest into that company. All right, so that's the difference between the S Corp and the C Corp. The C Corp is strictly for that business itself, controlling the entity of that sole, I guess, product or whatever that may be. But like I said, and this is like, I don't know if it's a thing I didn't really understand specifically is the purpose of a C Corp to run the LLC. Like, I'm more or less like why, not necessarily like the how, just the why.
Right.
Like, why would you do that if you already had the LLC in place?
And to me, that's where I felt like it's the taxation situation at that point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said in the group chat, like, that's probably where you got to start being careful with how you file your taxes and stuff like that. Because, as regular folks, I think once you start stepping up into those more intermediate, at least, financial ideas, that's where you're treading in different water.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why for me, I'm gonna just do like the dude in Ozark and just start money laundering.
Facts.
Or
go ahead and download this QuickBooks real quick.
Or we can start legitimate businesses this year.
That's wild. Why would you? Who does that?
Listen, like,
who does that?
I for one would like us to be known as the LLC boys.
LLC boys. Thought about
that.
This
Is the worst street name ever.
Are you
gonna get that on the chain?
NFT boys.
NFC boys.
That's terrible.
That's horrible too.
That's horrible.
The C Corp.
You get no respect in the
C Corp
like
crew. All right, I'm trying, bro.
Nah.
It's not in there.
Nah.
Why would you do JBR?
JBR.
JBR LLC. See,
there we go.
There you go.
All right. So with that, right? Last question. As far as entrepreneurship or anything like that,
money laundering.
Is there any? What would it take? What would it take for like? What would the moment be for you to say like, I'm done doing what I'm doing right now. I'm all in. I'm investing in myself. I'm ready to throw money behind my idea. I'm ready to throw money behind my my beliefs and myself on this thing that I'm really feeling strongly about. Like, what would that if you had a thought? Like, what would that thought be?
I think there's a lot of ideas that we all come up with collectively that I think more or less the most common fear of expense is more or less time, not necessarily monetary. It's just trying to focus that time into that project or idea that you can't supplement, because you're gonna sacrifice most of that plus the expense of financial.
Right.
But the return is not going to be in your year one. and you have to keep that expectation. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's structured to basically loss, break even, and profit in third year. So it comes down to how long you are willing to let your idea, passion, I won't say suffer, but grow to where you want it to be, to where you can see the end of what you want to do, but the process, are you willing to work the process?
Okay.
And I know somebody specifically who I talk to on a regular basis who has been doing that for 3 years. And he told me, we talk, and he's like, this is my year 3. He's like, we're going to be turning a profit year 3. And I was like, bro, you're right on par with everything that the business model is. And he sacrificed, and he's asked others just for help. Not like give me help, just more or less if they want interest is fine. But he's had the ability to do both with the team that he has, and still be a full-time employee kind of thing. And he's now coming to the point where he's in the process of purchasing something else.
Okay.
Large scale?
Do you see yourself? And you don't have to get into specifics, but do you see yourself like ever doing something like that?
I think every day that I see somebody else coming up, intrigues me more to do for myself.
Yeah.
More or less. I don't want to say no. I mean, obviously, we all want to be able to say it's mine or I own that. But again, it's just, I want to know what it is for me specifically that I can say is tangible, that is a need to be met. You know what I mean? Because
for you, it has to be there has to be some type of utility
correct
to the thing that you
right.
do. Okay, I understand.
I don't want it to be something that I know is going to be good for the now, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's gone the next. So it's got to be something that fills a void somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an important thing, because if it's just something that's good for now, it's a hustle.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I don't want to hustle. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to have to go from hustle to hustle to hustle for the rest of life. At the same time, I also don't want to be an employee for the rest of life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if it's something that I can see where it can go from hustle to, legitimate ownership business, something that can, keep going down the road, that's a different situation. Right. But something just for the now, just for the immediate, I don't want to do that.
But do you ever see yourself, like, do you foresee yourself being able to jump out there and that whatever that thing is, whatever your passion is, right? And saying like, okay, I'm ready to invest in myself, time, finances, all of these things.
Yeah, I could probably do that.
You foresee yourself? You foresee that happening?
Yeah, it's gonna have to, because I'm gonna get to a breaking point.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Like I don't know how much longer I can be an employee.
Right.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying. I'm not. I am not the person that just does stuff because someone says, because I said so. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not that dude.
Right.
So not being that dude and being an employee are obviously two diametrically opposed situations.
Correct.
I guess. You know what I mean? But
I mean, you're waiting on the purge, so like,
well,
any day now.
Yeah.
One or the other is going to happen, right?
Yeah.
That's his
Pretty
purpose.
much.
But all jokes aside, like I asked the question because for me it's like I think I hit this point probably about 2 years ago, where I was like, I'm no longer concerned about. I am concerned about my day to day and the bills and everything like that, but that can no longer be the thing that holds me back from saying that I am investing in myself, my ideas, my work ethic, this thing that I believe in.
Right.
And I think that's important just to reinforce for anybody and everybody, because business doesn't necessarily need to be tasking for you if it's your passion.
Right.
You're going to be willing to do it anyway, because it's something that you give your time and your energy and your effort.
Right.
We say this all the time. We make time for the things that we want, right? So this is one of those things. And, just to reinforce for anybody out there who may be on the ledge or who may just be curious or like, I don't think I can do it. I would say, like, if not now, then when?
Right.
Because if you don't have enough money now, what is your plan to make more money in the future so that you can pursue your passion then?
But those building blocks that you just mentioned are important.
Yeah.
Right. The ability to focus, the ability to have, decent work ethic, the ability to get a task done. Like, I think everybody wants to jump right into, I own a small business, but not focus on those those core things that you need to operate a small business, right? Like no one wants to be an employee. Well, most people don't want to be employees, right? But if you can't buckle down and get something done, or if you can't follow through on a task or something, how are you going to lead your employees when you have them?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like people still have to learn work ethic. And I think a lot of people don't really have a work ethic and think it's just going to magically pop up because it's something they want.
I think you're right. I mean, people don't have that work ethic. Also, I think being a worker is the comfortable responsibility.
Yes.
Well, because there's limited responsibility.
Correct.
Right? Like when
it's role assigned.
Yeah, exactly. Your role assigned. You have a task, you complete a task, job well done, you go home.
Right. Wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, you don't have to think about it anymore. Right. But at some point, and like I said, for a lot of people out there that are starting to think bigger.
Yeah.
And they say like, I don't want to be in this rat race.
Right.
Because we all do it, right? We all look at, the next man, like how does somebody make, 6 figures? How does somebody make 7 figures? What do they got to do? How do they get to that point?
Yeah.
How do they maintain it?
Well, I think it's also understanding the value of entrepreneurship at certain levels in your life. I mean, the earlier you understand it, the easier it is for you to obtain it later on.
Right.
Because your focus is different. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that we wasted years on what we do, but our focus wasn't on that level of thinking at that time.
No, I talked about this early on in the podcast, right? Where I came across this dude who was explaining to me that he had a hustle for every season. And like when it was wintertime, he had a pickup truck that had a plow attachment to the front of it. And then in the springtime, he used his pickup truck and he had lawn equipment that he would go out and he would do lawns and get contracts for lawns. And then in the summertime, he had a dry steam cleaning business with steam cleaning vacuums and he would go in and he would like clean people's carpets and so then obviously in the fall it was still the lawn and the leaf blowing and all that stuff. And it was like he had a hustle and he started with one truck with one attachment and he used the income from that stuff to start building on.
Right.
And this is a guy, at the time he was probably in like his late 50s, early 60s. And he was, at this point, he was working for, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, he was working for benefits.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he carried a certain job for the benefits.
Right.
He wasn't really concerned about the actual pay because he had all these other things, contracts that he did every season.
Right.
And so like that was probably the eye-opening moment for me where I was like, yeah, I mean, I show up for work and there were times where I would work 2 jobs.
Right.
Work for 2 different employers and have taxes being taken both times. And it was like, like at what point can I do this and I can cut the middleman?
Yeah.
At what point can I do, and then that started to grow into what do I like to do? Who do I like to do it with?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And so I say that for anybody and everybody who just may be interested, overall and just improving their situation or your situation, whatever it is, like learn about it, take the time, because like I just said, you make the time for things that you want.
Right.
So if you really truly want something, you're going to spend the time. You got YouTube University.
Yeah.
You have, online certificates to for different fields and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like you have to take that time and really start to lock in on some of these things, because if not, we're normal everyday people. Like the reality of it is we're normal everyday people.
Yeah.
Like none of us in here are probably where we want to be, where we see ourselves in our end form.
Yeah.
Right. So we're constantly working on these things, whether we're dabbling in the stock market or whether we got the black Air Forces in a ski mask. You feel me? Like
I'm just a blunt.
Wait, you wear a ski mask?
I don't judge anybody's hustle.
It's like 12 degrees outside. Yes, I keep the ski mask with me. You know what I'm saying?
I don't judge anybody's hustle. I will say this though, that just like, it's important. It's important to focus on you and your ideas and the things that you want, because if not, you will be stuck working for somebody else, and that's not my goal.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what I'm leaving it with. Fellas, is there anything else y'all can think of?
What I was going to ask is, do you think a lot of the positions we take for the interims could propel you to do what you want to do?
I think it's important. I think that we can pull from any and everything that we do, right? So if you're working in a certain field, and it may not necessarily be the actual work, but it could be the people that you work with,
right,
or the people that they're connected to.
I want to segue from that real quick because I value network over everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you know me, bro. I'm always out there, like, just finding new people.
We know.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I'm not using hot sauce, but don't worry about it. But anyway, no. But what it is basically is like, you're out. It's finding other values, so to speak, in the different points of views of what people's passions are, their success stories, their struggles. Even some coworkers, like I think we need to stop thinking that people don't know and just start listening. You know what I'm saying? Just being sensitive to ideas, being sensitive. Hell, even some of your enemies have a way. You know what I mean? But sometimes we get so caught up in just the reality of what we're dealing with in front of us that we kind of get, I guess, sidetracked by the goals that we want for ourselves. And we kind of put people in boxes and just kind of shut down and then just kind of, again, go through the motions.
Yeah, that's important. There's something you can take away from every job that you have, right? Whether it's a terrible job or whatever, whether it's understanding people, because like I said, if you want to be a business owner, then you might have to employ somebody at some point, right? So you have to think about how you're going to manage your team, right? You have to think about, even if it's a redundant job, how do you manage your time during that job to get the task done that you need to get? And that's a skill that a lot of people don't have, is time management.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Right.
Bro.
Time management to get done the things that you need to, and to toss aside the things that you don't have to. Right. These are things that for any job you have to utilize. You know what I'm saying? So if you're at your job now and you're not at least exploring those things,
right,
you're not setting yourself up for a greater future, regardless of what it is that you want to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. Like, first of all, like, time management is the one thing I'm telling you right now that everybody should try to master.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Because that will propel you to structure everything you do.
Right.
In level of importance, for that matter.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Even budgeting, for that matter. It's one and the same, but I'm telling you, time management is the most overlooked skill that people think that they can learn later on in life.
Right. You can't do it.
You can't.
You can't do it. You've got to start somewhere, and you've got to refine your time management.
I agree.
That's an important thing. So if anybody's looking for something to do in 2022, time management.
Time management.
Learn how to manage your time. Because then, if you're saying that you don't have time for something now, then the question is why.
Yeah.
Right. You might legitimately not have time, and then you'll have to say, I can't do this thing right now. Maybe I need to schedule it in a year from now when I complete these or put myself in a different position. But if the situation is you don't have time because time is wasted, then you might have the ability or the opportunity to find time.
Yeah, clean that up.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And the number one obstacle we put on ourselves is how we value the time management.
Right.
And that's the issue I think we run into, is we don't put value behind that.
Right.
So, like we said it, we find time for the things we want to do. So if we say, hey, I want to do my own business, but meanwhile you're always out doing other things, you don't see the value in what you're trying to do versus what you're physically doing.
Right.
Hell, ask anybody. It's like, you know what? Can you drive me to New York every day? And you're like, no, I'm not going to drive to New York every day.
Right.
All right, fine. Now, if I say I'm going to give you $1 million every day you drive to New York, you'd be the first person at my doorstep.
I'm not driving you to New York every day.
Fine.
Okay,
you can fly me there because I know you got that G6 out there. So
this guy.
But
I'm taking you nowhere.
We living in fantasy land now.
Yeah,
you didn't know?
Yes, we do.
His time management allows for that.
Yeah, now that's the most important thing. Time, whether it's for your business, whether it's for your ideas, whether it's for yourself, right? Like taking the time to do what you have to do to put yourself in a good mental state, right? Whether it's just figuring out your mind, whether it's going to the gym, whatever it is. Time management, because you can't get that back, bro.
Absolutely.
You can figure out a way to make another $1. I can't make another day.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's what we are, bro.
I can't do that, but I can figure out how to make $1.
Every day we live is one less day to live.
That's it.
I didn't realize these guys were going to get existential on us, but here we are.
That's what we do. When I have the ski mask on, I guess.
Yeah. When you don't have the ski mask.
Yeah.
When you're not robbing pilots. Take me to LA. Oh, they call that terrorist. Never mind.
Yeah, right.
That's a Fed charge.
Yeah, right. We do not promote that. We don't promote that.
We don't promote that.
All right. I got nothing else. I think we're done. Good job, fellas. We locked in this week. Episode 65 is in the books.
Yeah.
For everybody listening, watching on YouTube, streaming, wherever you're streaming, thank you guys. We appreciate you guys. As I say every single week, don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Trying to grow this thing. We appreciate you. We need you. So thank you for tapping in. Got nothing else. So this is Julius from Earth signing out. Peace.